streaming. And there we go. Yeah, okay. We had a bit of a hiccup, I guess. There we are. Where did you see? Did you refresh what? Oh, okay. It's my gigantic fist in front of the camera. Let's not do that. Okay. So this is a Friday kind of thing that I want to start up. Just hanging out with Dylan Lalonde, who has been on my channel a few times. If you don't know him, Dylan, introduce yourself and why should you be here? Why should you be here? You didn't say Andrew. No, you heard nothing. Shut up. Yeah. Do not look behind the curtain. I've barking dogs, and I literally have enable live chat. See, this is. Thank you. It's basically a GoPro set into yeah, everything there. Oh, apparently he's only hearing you. You gotta be kidding me. All right. So it's so let me get the audio. Can audio input capture create new. Oh yeah, it should be my mic line. It should be my yeah. I'm here. This might double me back, so I might actually have to yeah. Oh man. So where should I be routing this through? Oh, mic auxiliary. That's going to be doubling me up. There we go. You guys are great. Thank you. Well, Paul. Hey, Paul. Hey, Ken. Thanks, guys. This is a very new concept that I'm really trying hard to... Oh, you know what? Oh, I'm pretty sure they can hear me. I don't think I messed up my stuff. Video capture... Audio properties. Active audio monitoring. Monitor and output. See, this is weird, man. This is yeah, no, it's all about getting the audio from clean feed. So we just in case you guys are wondering, we set up a clean feed, and it's supposed to have the audio coming straight through. Now, if I were to share, if I were to start clean feed on here, so let me add this audio output capture. No, I wouldn't want to do that. I'm not capturing it somewhere else. Add. Let's go browser. Okay. OBS browser? No.
Are you? Because there's a way you can share system audio, right, in the OBS?
Yeah, where is that? I don't
know.
Put on a page.
I just downloaded it yesterday. I don't know. What was I doing? Oh, right. Pro Tools. Stop complaining. It's the story of my life. Pro Tools complaining. Yukon. Yeah, there we go.
So, feel free to look it up. I'm going to try to figure this stuff out here.
Ba-dum.
Okay.
Let me bust open OBS here and see. Oh, can you still hear me? I think my
I can hear you.
Okay, now we're good. Just very laggy.
Yeah, no, I don't ask what I did. Just don't ask what I did.
Don't even go there. What did I do? What I did. Yeah, there's display capture. One would think there would be a system audio capture somewhere.
Oh, they can hear you.
They can hear. I know they can hear me. They just can't hear you. I thought that.
Oh, they can't hear me. I thought they said they couldn't. No sound for Dylan. No, they said they couldn't hear you.
Oh.
I know how to get my own sound, dude.
So now who do they hear?
Now my video is out. What the? God damn it. Yes.
Oh. Discord's complaining about something. I don't know. Yes.
All right.
I am talking.
So, stupid camera. All right. Now let's try this. Add.
Check it.
Windows. Display capture. No. Video capture device. Yes. Okay. And we are going to add GoPro webcam. Okay. And it should be good in 3, 2.
Should be the operative word.
Come on, GoPro. Come on.
Come on.
See, this is all beta software with the GoPro as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Dylan, now that people can hear you while I'm trying to figure out my webcam issues.
You want me to reintroduce myself?
So reintroduce yourself. Tell people why you should be here again.
Why I should be here. Deja vu. So yeah, why I should be here? That's the ultimate question. Why are any of us here? What is the meaning of life? So my reason why I'm here is I've pretty much been in every corner of the sound field, whether it's voiceovers, whether it's producing music, designing recording studios, designing sound reinforcement for strip clubs, radio work, podcast work, audio for video, film scoring. I don't know how it happened, but somehow I've kind of found my way in every corner of it, as Aiden can attest to. Technology is definitely my strong suit. I also do a lot of creative work, but the engineering side of it is definitely where a lot of my experience is, helping people design rigs, talking about different mics, different speakers, different ways of processing a voice, stuff like that. So that's kind of my history. Where I'm at now is I'm one of the production leads for the Rogers Communications AC radio station network in Canada, which is 10-ish radio stations across the country. So that, in addition to local commercial production and problem solving, is a lot of what I do. Your video just went.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm switching it over because the GoPro seems to not want to work here. So I've got another camera, and I'm doing that right now.
Doing it right.
OBS just died. Are you kidding me?
I didn't mean to invite you.
Did it just crash on you?
It crashed!
Oh, I shouldn't laugh. That's horrible. Search for plugins because I run into the same problem with plugins. I have like 300 EQs. Trying to find a specific one is such a pain in the ass.
Okay, so we are back. I'm trying to put my video capture device up. Let's see if this actually works. It crashed it last time. So let's see if this works. If this doesn't work, I will start up my other webcam and Dylan doesn't get a view of me. You happy there, Dylan? You good?
Sure, I can hear you. Right. I can hear. We can do that. That ASMR engagement.
God bless the people who are still watching this mess.
Yeah. Putting up with this nonsense on Friday night. So
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the crappy video capture device. I'm going to do this. Ooh, that's bad.
So am I showing right now? Or are you showing? Or
yeah, I'm showing now. Sorry, guys. I'm supposed to have the GoPro working for me, but the GoPro decided it wasn't going to. So let's just delete that. Okay. So Dylan is, he's very qualified for this, by the way.
We are back.
Oh, yeah, I already did that.
Oy vey, man. 10 minutes in, and what have we gotten out of the out of the stream so far is Dylan's repeated
We've
himself
gotten
twice.
that your cameras don't like you. That's what we've gotten out of the stream.
See, I picked up, I've got a Canon. It's another one I can use. I have a Canon T7i. That's what I shoot all my videos with. And I can actually set that up as a webcam, but that's going to be a pain in the butt if I've got to actually pull that thing off, put it up, and actually, I don't feel like doing that. Next week I'm going to do that because, let's be honest, this webcam sucks. Plus the angle, because it's straight on my face, the background doesn't look as pretty from this way. By the way, you're looking at the direction in which I record. That right there is the microphone that's coming up on Monday, the Heil PR40. Keep wanting to call it the Hail. The Heil PR40. No, it's not a German mic. It is not. It's actually Bob.
Is it? What is it?
Bob Hale. Hale is his name, Bob Hale. He was a sound producer in the 70s who ended up going on tour with like the Grateful Dead, everybody, because he just seemed to know sound. And he was actually one of the pioneers of live sound as we know it today. And I found that out, and I actually put all that history into the video for the microphone. However,
sounds like you read some Wikipedia pages.
I read Wikipedia, man, all the way through.
All of it. I read all of the Wikipedia.
However, there's something about this microphone. It's over. There.
See, I can't see it, so I'm just assuming that you're pointing at something useful.
The high end on that microphone. Look at the anyone that's listening. If you guys want, go check out the Heil PR40. Frequency response. Just look it up. Are you
talking into that right now, or the NT2A?
No, this is the NT2A. Always the NT2A for this stuff.
It sounds like, yeah.
Go check it out. It is absolutely ridiculous how bright this microphone is. And you see it from about 1K up to 10K. It just boosts to like all hell. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's dynamic.
Oh yeah, no, it's.
Yep.
Oh, there! Everyone's saying it's nice. Okay, so we're actually working. There we go.
We are working.
We are 12 minutes into our stream, Dylan,
and we're finally working.
We're good at this, man. Yeah. So if you look at the frequency response of that, Dylan, what does that tell you on the back end of that mic, the high end?
The Heil?
Yeah, the PR40.
It's high.
Oh God. Okay. You get fired for that kind of crap around here, man. I tried EQing it, and this is something that I really wanted you on for, especially for this. Is I can EQ my own mic. I can EQ a lot of mics that suit my voice. I've got a very nice voice that suits a lot of microphones. I don't think I've ever run into a problem like the Heil. It is obnoxiously high, like in the high ends. And when I tried like EQing it, what are some of the ways you go about EQing something like that really is boosting frequencies that you just don't want on your voice?
EQing is one of those things where, you know, you're told one thing when you start to learn about it, and it's like, this is a good, like one thing, for example, that you learn about very early on, usually in the pro leagues, is sweep EQing, which is the idea where you take a sort of a proportional Q point, make it really narrow, so set the bandwidth super low or the Q super high if it's a Q or bandwidth. Q and bandwidth are the opposite, kind of. And you just basically drag it all the way up, like 10 dB boost, and just drag it around until you hear a noise that's annoying, and then notch it out. That's basically, but so there's a problem with that concept, and that is that when you boost any frequency by 10 dB, it's going to be really annoying. So what you get, you can always tell, I can always tell when I've gotten a voice track or something back, or like a Pro Tools session or something from somebody who's done the sweep EQing, because there's all these super narrow subtractive points all over the place. Like they might have a 20 band EQ and they've used all 20 bands, and like the voice has lost any amount of color to it at all. It's just super thin and gross. So that is an idea, which again, there are some instances where sweep EQs can be really useful. For example, if there's like a particularly whistly tone in somebody's sibilance that you're trying to notch out. And we have a couple syndicated voices for our radio stations that are like this. Exactly. And you're like looking for that. But in that case, like I have several EQs, like the isotope EQs, for example, which have spectrograms overlaid on them. So you can see, like when somebody's making, you can see where the boost is, and you know exactly. So you don't really need to sweep EQ in that
Yeah,
case.
no, and Spectral,
um,
I took a look at this on Spectral. Now, let me point this out. The PR40, Ken McCone says it's a nice mic. And you know what? I'm not ditching on this mic whatsoever. I like the PR40. When I hear the high register, when I went back over and I'm editing the video and I was trying to EQ the audio, I didn't dislike the higher frequencies from the microphone. It's just on my voice, those higher frequencies just don't work. They're okay.
I still look at the Heil and it looks like a side address mic. That
Yeah,
really bothers me.
you know what? And that's the great thing about it is I don't know what had to happen for them to have to put directions on the actual mic itself.
Well, again, like enough people had obviously,
Yes.
especially like experienced people that have used condenser mics that look almost identical to that.
Well, if you also
Like
look at the frequency response graph, it'll show you also the curve for 180 degrees. So I'm guessing there's enough people using this
There's enough
improperly.
people screwing that up.
That, give them the fucking thing for everything. Yeah, just whatever. Just throw it at them.
So what's the MSRP for that thing? For $500?
Actually, well, I go American because 90% of the people that watch this channel are American. And for the MSRP on that thing, I think is $329. So it still comes in under
The SM7.
The SM7.
And 2A.
And it's just it's a little bit more expensive than the RE320. So it's one of those things that you take a look at it, and you'll see in the video when I do the comparisons. I compare it to a pod mic, which is unfair through and through. The RE320, the RE20, the SM7B, and you can kind of hear, you know, the quality in it. And like I said, there's no shrill high end. It's not distorting in the high end. I did have to up my de-esser with it, like a lot. Yeah. But other than that, it was actually pretty good. And I bought it off a buddy who worked in radio, and they gave him a mic one day. He's like, I don't want this at home. So he's like, do you want it? So I picked it up, and I gotta say, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it, but it's an interesting mic to have.
It's fun to do experiments with.
Well, apparently they make great kick drum mics. So
yeah, I could see that. Because it sounds like, I mean, looking at the frequency response graph, especially with a kick, like depending on the genre you're doing, obviously, but you often want that beater click of the beater against the batter head on the kick, and if it's got a little boost around that range, that's why like I knew guys that would use SM58s on kick drums, because 58s have that weird little presence boost because of the transformer.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, people will use SM7s because SM7s have super accurate bass response. So it's like it depends somewhat. I would probably use an SM7 on as a kick out mic on a jazz thing, or something where I wanted a really fat sounding kick.
Yeah, no,
not
I could see
necessarily
that.
something that's like super pointy.
I've never mic'd up a drum set. I'm going to keep this just for maybe some acoustic work. That nice bright high end might come through on an acoustic guitar, especially the old girl I've got here. It'll probably
an acoustic that sounds very very warm. It would probably do well. Like I've got this Washburn Cumberland, which is a jumbo body, like the biggest body style that you can basically buy in an acoustic, and it is so warm that sometimes I find like on my Taylor, I will mic that gal up with like a couple pencil mic, or not a couple pencil mics, but I'll mic it up with the SM7 or something that's just either neutral, or like an Earthworks mic, or just something that's kind of flat. But then because it's such a bright guitar, but then with the Cumberland, because it's so meaty, I'll use pencil mics on it just to get that extra little shininess on the top end.
The one thing I'm a little bit concerned about with the old Ibanez I've got, it's a little buzzy on the frets, and I'm worried that those buzzes might really come through on a high.
Get it into the shop, man. Get it into the shop.
I know. It's I probably need a new nut on it. It's
new nut, or maybe some fret work. You need some fret rework.
It's a 1974, so probably. I mean, it's never had its frets worked on. It's never been up.
How much have you used it? Do you say like per year? How many Like if you had to try and qualify that per year in
Recently,
hours?
not as much, but I
Not a
would
lot.
probably put in 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. So 20
Yeah,
hours.
you definitely
Yeah.
you're gonna want to have. I mean, now they're starting to make frets. I forget what it is. I think stainless steel frets are becoming. Before they would use, what was it, nickel? Someone's gonna correct me on that. I know it, but
Yeah.
there's some guitar companies now that have started, and even guitar techs that will swap out. I believe it's stainless steel now that which is a little more rigid.
Yeah, I can see that.
Than the old like nickel material.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure it was
because
nickel.
people are holding on to their guitars for 30, 40 years, right? And
I don't want to take it into the shop every 2 years.
No, refretting a
Nope.
guitar must be terrible too. Like I've seen luthiers do it, but still.
I would only. There's certain guitars like my prized possessions. My I care about all of my instruments, but for my
to
Taylor,
varying degrees.
to varying degrees. Well, that's
You
it,
get
right?
the
There's
linseed oil,
like-
you don't.
it doesn't matter what your parents tell you. If you have a sibling, they definitely they
Yeah.
love one of you more. They're not like that old line where we love you all equally. That's BS.
Yeah.
But no, I so for my I would only ever take my Taylor in to get fretwork done by a luthier that I know and trust, and they're very when you spend like $6,000 or $7,000 on a guitar, you don't want just anybody just stripping its pieces off and putting them back on. That kind of makes me cringe a little bit. I think I've had nightmares about that at some points. But
Raphael Cruz says, "I can see the video, looks and sounds good. Thanks, Raphael. Welcome.
it's good to get the confirmation.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Let us know if we
I
go.
don't know.
If we're not streaming anymore, hit us up, eh?
I can see I'm streaming it. I can see I'm not paying attention to it because the lag is so absurd that it's just screwing me up to look at it. But I noticed the only thing, I'm obviously not listening to it, but your picture is bigger than mine, which I'm sure you planned. I'm
Sorry, man.
It was about a solid 20%.
I'll resize you next week. Shut up.
Next week, on the next plan.
Ken said he bought a Zoom ZD M1. That's the new all one big podcast kit. So you get a pair of headphones, you get a microphone, they give you an XLR cable, and it's like $120. And
That's really good.
If you check out the video I did on the Zoom P4, I actually shot that with that microphone, and it didn't sound that bad. I was expecting, you get a you get a microphone, headphones, all that. The microphone couldn't have cost more than $40.
No,
I wasn't expecting it to sound as good as it did, and it was quite good. So, Ken, you'll probably like that. He says his voice is muddy and nasal.
Sounds like most dudes.
Not trying to sell yourself there, Ken.
Sounds like most dudes.
Yeah. That muddiness, buddy, one of the best ways to get that out is... Oh, nice. You got the PodTrack P4 too. The best way to get that muddiness out is around... Was it around the 250 mark on the EQ? Just dropping it down a little bit?
You just set up a high-pass filter and just start chopping stuff off until it makes you sound like a chipmunk, or like you're coming through a pair of headphones at 20 feet away, and then dial it back. There's no, because some people have a really absurd low end, and also your headphones are really important too. Like for example, the headphones I've got on right now, these Shure SRH 940s.
Yeah,
these are crazy. These are crazy with bass.
I have
and
the
treble.
SRH 440s, so yeah, shut up.
Those are good. I've got those. Those are my. Those are the vocal booth.
The
cans.
backup pair.
Those are backup. Well, no, my backup pair are the 840s, which are sitting over there in a bunch of pieces right now. But no, these have a really almost too detailed high end. I'll listen to a pop record and it's tearing my ear holes out. But then the bass is also absurd.
Now, somebody said I was a lot louder than you, so I'm just adjusting that. Thanks, Quick Tech. I appreciate that. Let me know if this is a little bit better. And
What kind of processing are you going through? Or are you just going straight in?
Straight in, man. Not even.
Yeah. See, I've got 3 layers of compression and So here's the thing. So I got to tell this story. So as you and I were talking about last week when we were going over doing this kind of thing, I have this conundrum where my SM7B is not accessible to OBS. By default, because and the reason for that is because my rig here is a little convoluted. I've got several audio interfaces connected for different reasons. I've got sort of a chintzy little M-Box 2 that is my audio card for all intents and purposes. And then my actual interface that I use for recording, mixing, production is a MADI interface, an SSL soundscape box. But that SSL soundscape box is 64 channels in and 64 channels out. So as you can imagine, OBS don't like that too much. OBS not a big fan of 64 channels simultaneously in and out. So what I'm doing to make this work is, obviously I could have plugged the SM7 into my mixer, which is going into the little M-Box crapshoot, but I didn't do that. I'm using Pro Tools as a bridge. So I've got Pro Tools listening to the preamps that the SM7 is connected to, coming out, going into a board, then the board is feeding that into the M-Box. So because I had to do that, I've just said, well, I've got 10 inserts on the Pro Tools tracks. I might as well just get lost in throwing some absurd processing on my voice to get it to sound super crazy awesome.
Jeez, man. So all of that is what you can take from all that, guys. By the way, I've got the audio up. Let me know if I'm a little more level. But you can take from that Dylan has too much money. And
yes, more than I know what to do with.
By the way, my shop here, this is kind of my shop where I shoot.
Your shop.
Bit of a mess. I got some monitor stands in, so speaker monitor stands.
Yeah, you gotta specify, because when you say monitor, most people.
I know. I was telling the guy I got a monitor stand. He's like, "Didn't it come with the monitor?"
Yeah. It's funny though, because like I'm used to that, because I refer to it the audio version more than the video version. But to the average person, monitor means display.
Yeah. So I got them, and they've always they're still on my desk as we speak. You can tell in all the videos, but now I need to get them off my desk because I have no room here. And they're gigantic 8-inch speakers, are the Aris E8s by PreSonus. So I've got to put them behind my desk. Now, Dylan, do you just put them on either side of the monitor, or is there a science to spacing them out?
There is a science to spacing them out. I mean, I remember way back when the general rule of thumb was you wanted an isosceles triangle. So for those you want to be a little bit further away from the speakers than they are apart from each other.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. So you want that kind of, again, that elongated triangle shape. Some people do equilateral at like 45-degree angles, but I found that for me, for what you're doing and for what most people are doing, the real benefit of getting the spacing just right and getting the room positions just right is your stereo image. You're gonna get a more accurate stereo image. That's not gonna be as polarizing. Like headphone stereo image is horrible. But it's all about getting a right image of what you're doing, which for music mixing is obviously a huge deal. For audio, for video is a huge deal. Radio doesn't matter because we're dealing with pre-mastered music anyway. And podcast doesn't matter because you're usually dealing with like a lot of mono sources. Unless you're doing like a podcast with a lot of sound design in it, that's different. Then you might want to do that. But I would say in your case, maybe for now, just sort of try to get it ergonomically that it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think I might do it where they're just spaced, because it's also like the logistics of the wall behind me. And it's not a problem I ever thought I was really going to have. But so now the studio is going to get a little smaller as the desk comes out. I've got to rip this whole thing apart. Cables have to.
Oh, yeah, I hate that.
The monitors are also displaying a little too much squeak from my video card. So, it looks like I'm going to actually have to do a whole bunch of rejigging this weekend after I'm done the video. But Ken says his studio is in the sleeper berth of his 2002 Peterbilt. Rocking a 2002 Peterbilt, dude. I'm guessing owner-operator because not many companies have an 02 Peterbilt still on the road. Old truck driver here, by the way. So I rocked a Freightliner. It was a 2006. Was the last time I was an owner-operator. So, those sleeper berths, I bet you any money, you could get a great studio out of those. Like, I'm almost positive They're not.
There's lots of businesses in Canada. A friend of mine who's an electrical engineer, Wayne Hawthorne, he runs one, and he's basically got a studio that he's constructed. Now he's an electrical engineer, so he did like a crazy amount of electrical work to get everything isolated and like it. But it's totally doable. There's a lot of businesses that have a studio in a box situation, and you know, you install a patch panel on the outside of the truck, and boom, you can record. Like he does concerts, he does audio for TV, like Hockey Night in Canada, like a bunch of different. Big format productions, and he basically just does them out of a cube van.
Yeah. Oh, and it's fascinating too because I've actually recorded audio in my car, and cars are actually meant to keep sound out from outside.
Yeah, they're very good. They're very good. If you can get a mobile rig or get a Zoom, you know, handy recorder in your car or something.
Yeah,
great place for VO.
Ken says lots of hard plastic surfaces. One of the best ways around that, I used to use, don't laugh, but you go get one of those really fuzzy bath mats, and you put those bath mats over the hard surfaces. Oh, yeah, moving blankets will work nicely too.
Quilts, moving blankets, anything that has a low density. There's actually a whole chart. I have it somewhere because I'm a nerd. Of all the different, they call them absorption coefficients, which basically says how much does something reflect changes in air pressure.
Nice.
And glass and tile and concrete, horrible. Carpets are good, and generally for voice, you don't really need that much. Like I'm sure you know most of us have seen those 1x1 panels on Amazon that you can get like a pack of 20 of them for cheap as hell. I've got those. I just got them for shits and giggles because I was like, well, why not? You know, and they're nothing. They're made of what's the best like pillow insulation, but like an inch of it.
I was thinking they're more like those sponges that you get for washing dishes.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. They're sponges, and I'm like, how is this remotely effective? But the reality is human voice, as far as like wattage output, very weak. There's not a lot of low end. Generally, when it comes to absorbing sound, and you'll notice this if ever you try to absorb stuff, is if you put up like a quilt, you'll notice the first thing that goes away is like treble. Like any high-end information immediately gets absorbed. Bass stuff, like the lower the frequencies you get, the harder it is. Like if you go into a big recording studio, they have these things that are called bass traps, and they're these giant triangular wedges that sit in the corner of the room, and their job is to pick up the standing bass waves that accumulate in the corners, because that's where bass tends to hang out, is in the corners of big rooms. And it will try to absorb those. But sometimes they're like 2 feet thick. Yeah. Just because it takes so much, because there's so much energy in low end. It's funny, we usually think of higher frequency, like gamma rays, having more energy than like ultraviolet rays. But when it comes to like acoustic information, like sound pressure changes, it's the opposite. Yeah. There's more energy. Like when you look at a good example is if you look at the back of a speaker, and it has a rating for how high the wattage is of the tweeter and how high the wattage is of the woofer, which a lot of speakers with like dual channel split amplifiers will tell you. They'll split the wattage up, and sometimes you'll see it where like the woofer, the driver is like 125 watts, and then the tweeter is like 75 watts. Yeah. And you're like, but they sound equal. And you're like, how is that even possible? But no, it's interesting.
So you heard it here first. If you want to pick up bass hangs out in the corner. That's the
Yeah. Oh no, it's true though. If you play your speakers, like play like some like a tune with a lot of bass, sit in your mix position, as we would say, and then like move around and go and just like kneel down in the corner of a room, like close to the floor, it'll blow your head off, the bass that comes out of there. Or even just going close to a wall. They call it getting close to the boundary. You want to like to get a lot of bass, which is why usually in a big recording studio, your mix position is as far away from those corners as humanly possible, because you want to try and get rid of that.
Like 10 feet back from the wall, as well as
like in the middle of a room, which obviously for most of us with home studios, having your desk in the middle of the room isn't very practical. But if you're building a studio from scratch, having all your stuff against a wall, not the best. The best strategy.
No, not the best strategy whatsoever. I got that experience once. Grand Ave Studios in Hamilton, one of the most premier, or at least according to them. Sorry if anyone's watching from Grand Ave. And he had me do that. He had me go stand in a corner during one of the drums when Adam, my drummer, was playing, and it was hilarious. How it was like, holy crap! Like it, you're like blows the eardrums up.
It's funny though, because I mean, like looking at how to get a good drum tone. Like a lot of times what they'll do is they'll take like the boundary microphones or PZMs, pressure zone microphones as they're called, which they're very, I don't know if you've ever seen a PZM, a pressure zone mic, but they have a very particular look to them. They're like a flat plate with an XLR port on them. And they're sometimes we had it. I remember we'd be trying to get like a John Bonham kind of a drum sound, and we would literally in a massive 2-story high live room. Those are the days. We would take PZMs and like duct tape the PZM to the wall, like flat to the wall, which should be like the worst place. But like the meat and the resonance from the kick drum in some of those instances, depending on where on the wall you put them and how high and whatnot, you can get some really interesting sounds and like a starting place with that kind of stuff. But no,
that's kind of
all
cool.
about creativity. Yeah.
This is one of those things that, and I know this channel has been kind of based on microphones and podcasting, but it's always kind of been one of those studio things. And I know you actually mentioned this to me, style of recording for picking up guitars and stuff like that, that you might kind of walk us through. And I think one of these weeks I'm going to get you to actually sit us down and how to properly set up microphones for recording other than voice, picking up an instrument, and how that goes through even through your software. I think that might actually be an interesting experience to see.
Deep dive.
Deep dive on that. Guys, let us know if that's something you want to see. Victor, hey Victor, wants to know which microphone is Aiden using. Sorry, I maybe already said this, but I'm connecting now. So my main mic, my main go-to is the Rode NT2A. I picked it up, say about 4 years back when I started doing voiceover at home. It's an entry-level voiceover mic. It's a condenser. It's got multiple polar patterns. Also works for a lot of music recording because it's got a.
That said, don't let the entry level
no
dissuade you. It is a very good mic. You can go into many professional recording studios and they will have all the greats, the TLM series. They'll have the C414s. They'll have a C12, but also many of them will have an NT2A because it's very versatile.
Yeah. And it's $399 US, and you get the full package too. Let me see if I can lift this up. Oh, so you get the actual here. You get the mic, you get the shock mount, everything, including the pop filter, comes included with this microphone. And honestly, for $399, this quality of a microphone, buy two if you can. They're fantastic. I've been using it, like I said, for voiceover. I'm the voice of a station in mid-Michigan.
Are you still on that contract?
I'm still, and you know what? They still come back to me. They're like, how much to read a couple pages? They're like, we have $75. I'm like, all right.
So why not?
Well, I'm already the voice of the station. It was my first ever voiceover gig or radio imaging gig. Yep, and so all right, I'll take it for cheap, just to get myself on the go. But then when they come back, you can't just charge them extra. You can't just hey guys, I need $300 minimum.
Well, if you're David K, you can.
I wonder if David K still has his first job, still kind of hammering them, because I don't think
because all those guys are with agencies, so they don't even set the rates. Like one of the voices that we work with a lot, a guy named John Beach from New York City, he's with Atlas.
Oh,
which
nice.
is one of the bigger, right? And,
that's a big voice.
That's the same as Lisa Keys is now with Atlas, I believe, as well.
Oh, Lisa Keys is Atlas now. Wow.
I thought she was. I might be mistaken. Lisa, if you're watching, correct me, please. But no, it's and when you're with an agency, and the funny thing is, voiceover talent with an agency. Like sometimes I've needed a quick little thing, and I've have camaraderie with the voice, so I'll sneak in the back door and send them a note. Hey, how much for you to read like half a paragraph, 2 sentences? And they're like, I'll just do it, man. No, we're voicing stuff, and I can attest to this because I'm doing a lot of voicing stuff now too. It's just fun. I don't care.
Oh, it can be, and then depends
on if you're doing pages at a time or an audiobook. That's different. Who
wrote it? I think that's the biggest thing I've found with doing any voiceover. If you have a poorly written script, it's garbage. Sucks.
So this is a good segue because actually one of the points I want to talk about today is specifically regarding reading as it relates to voiceovers. And there's very frequently, the company that I work for, Rogers, in our creative department, we're really focused on conversational. The industry in general these days, unless you're in the States, American radio stations are still very much like Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. And it's like, and it's confusing for us because we have some voicers that voice, like John Beach also does stuff for CNN, which is very hard sell, as we would call it, compared to the conversational stuff that we're looking for. So you have to like get him out of American mode.
Yeah.
And then coming into the Rogers mode.
Into Canadian mode, eh?
Yeah, in a Canadian mode, eh, right, bud? But so, and one of the things, and I'm doing a lot of conversational stuff now. I find for me, the two tricks for me personally for voicing conversational stuff is one, I can't do it with headphones on. I have to do it acoustically, au naturel, because I find the headphones screw me up and put me into, Randy Radio. They put me into that mode, especially when you hear yourself coming back all sexy and processed. It just throws you off the game.
Hey, everybody.
Whereas I find like naturally, like when I'm talking to somebody, other than right now, obviously, but when I'm talking to most people, I'm talking to them. I'm hearing myself acoustically. I'm just talking to them they're 2 feet away from me. So I find when you're not wearing headphones, it kind of puts yourself back in that zone.
It's a normal.
So that's the first thing is if you're having trouble getting a conversational read and somebody's asking you for that and they keep sending it back to you, try it. If you're doing it with headphones, try it without headphones. You might be surprised at how effective that is at killing your announcery read.
And I'll give you one other thing on this too. If you're a podcaster and you notice you got one guy in your group that's doing like, hey guys, how's it going today?
Hey guys, what are you doing?
Everybody in the group should not have headphones on. You should only have one person monitoring sound. Usually it's one person talking, but also producing at the same time, monitoring the sound, playing with the volume, all that kind of stuff. Anything outside of that, you're gonna end up with just a mess of different voices and people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
it's going to be hard to concentrate.
Yeah. So continue.
Unless you have So that was the first thing is the headphones, which I think it is good that you bring up the podcast aspect, because I find, especially if it is a panel style podcast, because obviously there's many different genres and styles of podcasts, but if it's as a panelist style podcast where you've got like a round table discussion, no, the only person that should have headphones on are either the host or the producer, or maybe just the producer in most cases. If you're in a situation like an interview style podcast, like, our friend Mr. Rogan, they've both got headphones on, but it's also two people in most cases. So that's easy to wrap your ears around that in one sitting.
And most people on Rogan's podcast have done interviews before, sat in front of a microphone, and can actually... They can control themselves when they get on the mic. And you know what? To be perfectly honest,
peas.
Yeah, I'm totally up on the mic. A lot of these things are still, when you're in radio for years, you still do the radio voice sometimes. When we record different things and I'll get on the microphone, I'm like, and it's 9:10 talking about it. And people are like, hey, dude.
And there's clients that, like, and me who does a ton of commercial work, there are clients that still ask for it. Like, we have this one client, and it's obviously a car dealership, because who else would it be?
Yeah.
Who else would it be? But they're super hard sell. When I say hard sell, I don't mean like come on down. No, I mean like without mentioning the client name, like Nissan on now. Like, it's just off the chain.
My favorite of all time. What was it? You pay for the whole seat. You only need the edge. Yeah.
You only need the edge. So, like, we had one guy who's now a morning show host in Niagara, named Curtis Bray, and he would do the hard sell read because he had the smokiness to his voice, because he literally was a pretty heavy smoker, but also he had that push to it. But then he sort of decided to move on in his career, and then we're left with a bunch of clients that are like, well, wait, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So then I ended up, when he was around and he would have a cold or something, which you would think cold would actually help the read, but sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But then I started doing it, which, and sometimes they'd have us do like 5 spots in a row, and I'd be the end, and my voice is just gone. I'd be like, well, I've got to do a jingle next. How am I going to do that?
You need to smoke more, man. That's what they told them all back in the day, man. Smoke a pack, you're good.
Smoke a pack, you're good. But so the problem is I found now I would have to triage the stuff, because if I said, okay, I've got like a Georgetown car dealership spot to do, and then but then I literally had this happen a couple of weeks ago, like maybe a month ago actually, and it was an evening, and I had at 7:00 I had to do a jingle, like actually produce like a full harmonized, like a 24-part harmony jingle. And then at the same time, they're like, well, we also need this Finch spot. I was like, no. Okay, singing first, then psycho. Singing, psycho, not psycho singing. Psycho singing is going to be a Bad News Bears situation because you come out of that and your voice is shot.
Yeah.
Like you can't, the clean read is gone. You have to recover because you've got like baby colic.
I actually did an audiobook. You know about this, Dylan.
Yeah,
but,
I do.
I did an audiobook that was adult audiobook. Well, anyways,
that was awesome.
I only did the one. I only did the one, and no, I'm not telling you which one it is. Look for the worst audiobook you can find, and
give them initials at least. Come on, give them some initials.
No.
You gotta give them something.
So this book will be lost in time. I still make like about $30 a month from it. It still comes in. Some money's still pouring in from it. But one of the reads in that book was I had to do two brothers who had nice deep voices, so they always talk like this. And I would come out of a read after a chapter of that. I'm like, hey. And my wife hated it. I would go upstairs. She's like, could you stop talking like that? But
is that the book that started with M?
No, no. We're gonna leave that.
Or is that a different one? Did you only do one? You only do one, like
know what?
erotica book?
I kind of wanted to do more because the money's fantastic.
I imagine, yeah. Well, that's the kind of book that you want somebody reading it to you like that.
Dude, 2 months worth of work. Like I would say not daily, but I was maybe putting in about 3 hours a day. For 2 months, and I'm still 2 years later getting paid $30 a month. So if you let's say you do 20 books and they're all paying out the same rate, you're making $600 a month just from the books, and you're not working for it. It's kind of residual pay always. So
it's passive income at that point.
If you could do books, I would say go to acx.com if you have a mic and you have a decent setup. And try it. It's worth it. Like $30 a month pays for my coffee now. I mean, and I don't have time to do I don't even have time to do my podcast anymore.
You're telling me.
However, I mean, if I had time, I'd be banging those books out left, right, and center. Sorry for the term banging. I apologize.
Demonetized immediately.
Completely. Just really quick, Victor wants to know, how much processing do you still apply to your products? Because conversations and live streaming maybe can include things like compression or noise gate, especially in post. You can actually run your compression, noise gate, all that stuff in line during your live stream. You can actually get that stuff. It's expensive. You can get it.
Kind of like I am right now.
Show off. Dylan's got that set up. I never have. You can actually buy products that run in line with streaming. Like you can put in running it through Adobe Audition. I haven't even looked into how much crap you can do with streaming. But if you look at the Rodecaster Pro, you actually have a lot of options on there. I have a mixer just up here. It's the PreSonus AR8. Right there. There it is. That's a guitar.
I'm watching the stream. Oh no, wait, maybe it's trying.
Oh, for crying out loud! It's up there.
There we go.
Okay,
I'll trust you. I keep forgetting I'm on a 10-second lag, so you're like, here it is, and I'm like, where is it? What are you talking about?
PreSonus AR8 up there. Okay, and that thing actually has its own effects as well that you can put on. The problem I would say with putting on effects on a live stream is if you mess it up, you're not getting it back, especially even when you record.
You can't uncook bacon.
Yeah,
that's an analogy I use every damn day.
It's so true. So if you're looking at doing, Ken says plugins in OBS work nicely. Sure, if you need to, but if you really desperately need stuff like compression and noise gating, maybe look at how you can kind of change up your environment more so than putting compression and gating on. Like, you notice me, this is no special room. I do have sound treatment around in front of me, but
I see the egg cartons.
Yeah, well,
I see the egg cartons.
No, it's not egg cartons. It's this stuff.
That's what it looks like. What's on the corner? Behind you, on the other side.
On that?
No, I was gonna say it's still laggy, so I can't. Yeah. It's hard for us to coordinate our effort. There we go. Yeah. That
That's
stuff.
yeah.
You built, so the blue ones you built, right? And then the black ones you sourced.
Yeah, the blue ones you can actually check out. I've got a video of how to build them. It's horribly done. This is back when I was in the old house and I didn't quite have the sweet setup that I do now.
Sweet digs.
Yeah, I'm going to be redoing those eventually. We're going to see when I actually get some time to put another couple of those together. I want to do it for the rest of the back wall so I can have a little bit more... just a little bit more of a controlled environment. That being said, though, as I was saying, if you control your environment, you don't need compression. You don't need noise gating. All you need is a decent amp that can push your...
You don't need... See, so so I would rebut that with one point, and that is, so a D... not a de-esser, but it's so you can control plosives. I mean, I would say that's probably the one good performance tip. Sorry, ex-profs that shall remain nameless. That's the one good performance tip that I got in radio college was how to control my Ps to the point where I can strip off the SM7's inbuilt chintzy little. Actually, I say it's chintzy, but this actually has a decent ability to control.
Don't say mean things about the SM7.
Don't say mean things about things I use every day. But no, like I can get right up in here and I can really control my Ps and not have to worry about blasting stuff. And I can do I'll be doing stuff. So my setup is for everyday use the SM7 because it's right by my workstation, and obviously right now it works because there's a camera here. My full-fledged this is expensive kind of stuff to do is my U87.
Yeah.
And that thing being a condenser is super susceptible to popping Ps, but I can still kind of get I'd say probably about 2 inches away from the capsule, which is way closer than you should ever be.
Yeah,
and I can still control myself. But so getting back to my rebuttal, I guess. A noise gate you can definitely combat by having a quiet ambience in your room and also having minimizing reflections. It's still probably going to take a little bit of investment, but you can you can use your ingenuity and you can MacGyver something together. But compression, the problem with compression isn't always, in fact, compression usually makes room ambience worse.
Yeah.
But compression has to do with the fact that the human voice naturally is a very dynamic source. So to not have any compression on it is a lot of times unless you really can somehow train yourself to talk at the same level all the time with the exact same output. I'm squeezing my diaphragm really hard.
It's not the only thing you're squeezing hard, man.
No, it's not. I can feel my
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Try to avoid the demonetization as much as we can.
Please.
You notice every time I take a sip of beer, it's off frame there. So
that's no, that's okay. By the way,
that's okay.
We may swear the odd time, and adult beverages may come into play from time to time.
There we go. Disclaimer.
I'm going to see if YouTube actually does anything about that stuff. I don't think so, as long as we're not chugging.
Yeah, like chugging kegs on a live. Well, even then, though.
Keg stand!
We could get beer ads. I mean.
Yeah, I guess so.
Doing that stuff. But it's hard to say because these days it seems like the platform is getting more and more censored. So
yeah,
it's getting more and more dangerous to do the things that before used to be whatever, it's YouTube.
Some light compression on the voice isn't bad, but I light compression on the voice. And
are you reading a comment or is that you saying that?
No, I'm saying that. I was just mentioned because of the sirens in the background.
So let's see. Let's go through what I have right now. Actually, just for curiosity's sake, let's go through what I have. So right now, I'm going into my Audient ASP 880 preamps, which are decent preamps based on a board. They're not. They're not Neves or APIs. An API channel strip will set you back like $3,000 for one channel.
All right.
So these are decent. The reason I chose these for anyone who might be wondering is because I use the Audient ASP 8024 large format console in studios before, and I really liked how just the default sound of these preamps. I found they were clean, pretty low noise, just all good all rounders. So. And they basically, what Audient did was they took the preamps that exist in that board, the same electrical topography, and they slammed it into a 1-unit 8-channel box. So I'm going from that into my SSL converters, and then from there into Pro Tools. So the first thing processing wise Because other than that, it's dry. There's no EQ or anything on these are just straight preamps. Their job is to take it from mic level to line level, and that's it. That's all they're doing. So first, I've got it coming into a little wee noise gate because this is a horrible room, and I've got 2 fans and a humidifier going right now, and a window open. So I don't really, the reason I need to do that is because when that door shuts with all the gear on in here, I've got a tape machine, a whole stack of rack mount stuff. It cooks. It cooks. I legitimately do. I'm not going to turn the camera because I'm going to have a real pain trying to realign.
Yeah. No, it's okay. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to prove it.
No. But so I've got the noise gate on there. It is a Native Instruments SSL emulation noise gate. So it actually sounds quite good. It's actually my first time using it. I just threw it on there today to test it out, and I was like, oh, that actually sounds very smooth. So then after that, I've got an SSL. If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of an SSL fanboy.
Yes.
So after that, I've got a Waves SSL EQ emulation with the signature colored knobs, and it's an analog EQ. So it's what it's really doing in this case. Just I'm trying to remember just by looking at it what I'm getting it to do. I'm dialing back some of the mid-range stuff and boosting a little bit of lows and a lot of the highs because the SM7 doesn't have really any highs. So if I turn that off, now it's a lot more mid-rangey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's doing a nice little bit of coloring. And then after that, so we're not even close to the end of this chain. After that, I've got, what is that? I've got an exciter adding a little bit of tube saturation because these are solid state pre's. They sound lovely, but I want a little more color to them, a little bit more of those harmonic distortions. So it's a wee bit of tube saturation, emulated tube saturation. Then after that, I've got an EQ, which includes a little dynamic de-esser.
I can go get dinner while you're telling us all this, right?
So let's see through this. So then I've got my first stage of compression, which is a 2-to-1 ratio. And it's the threshold's pretty low. So it's basically taking my voice and it's cutting the dynamic range in half, which is good. I will like that because I have a tendency to talk very dynamically. So that's doing that. Then I have a transient shaper to cut my T's. I found my T's were a little bit too t-t-t, so that's sort of smoothing off my high-end T's a little bit so they're not so and then after that, finally, in that particular plugin, this is all in the same plugin, by the way, there's another compressor that is set to 30-to-1, and its threshold's very high. So it's just chopping off any stuff that's rampant if I'm, getting very adamant about something.
So is that
then
it?
after that?
No, okay. All right.
No,
I'm sorry.
There's 3 left. There's 3 left. Then I've got an 1176 emulation from Waves, the CLA 76, which is a compressor. That's set to 4-to-1. It's a little more aggressive, 4-to-1 ratio, and it's doing again even more dynamic control. And then after that, I've got a tape machine emulation to add even more saturation to my feed. And then finally, I have a limiter. I have a nice low latency limiter, the Waves L3LL, that is just grabbing anything that goes beyond a certain point and just saying, nope. And that's my chain right now.
Okay. I would have to say Ken said yawn, LOL, and I need coffee. Yeah. I don't know. He might actually be... He might actually just be tired, but I don't think so.
No. If I am as bored hearing myself talk as you are, trust me. I am in radio. I hear myself talk every day. It gets old after about 2 minutes.
Here's my signal chain, Dylan. Mine's gonna take like 2 seconds. So I'm going into an NT2A, out of the NT2A into the AudioFuse studio, into my computer, and over the internet. That is everything.
There you go.
How do I sound?
There you go.
So everyone listening, now I'm in a very controlled environment compared to Dylan. Dylan does not actually have a controlled studio environment right now. It's not bad, but it's not like
especially when I talk very loud, you can hear reflections when I talk loudly.
I'm condenser as well. My condenser's sitting at about 45% to 70 dB. So that's what 35 dB gain. And
it's logarithmic, so
it's kind of hard to get. Like somebody was asking me that today because I always say like, okay, so it's at 3:50 or it's at 4 o'clock. What does 4 o'clock mean? Okay,
every preamp's different.
Yeah, so I tried to break it down like that, but then I realized logarithmically, it's not technically that percentage anyways. So that's all I've
Also,
got.
like 50. Another thing to consider with preamps too is like 50% of your gain is in the last 10% of the knob.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you've ever noticed that is when if you plug the SM7, not it with a cloud lifter into something, and you're trying to really gain it, and then you get up to that last like 5 o'clock, and suddenly it's like whoa noise. What the? Like, where did that come from?
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you try to plug the SM7 into a Scarlett, good luck with that.
I can hear some voice reflections when you talk, Aiden, probably from your computer monitor. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the way I built this studio is funny. And Dylan, okay, there he is. Dylan, you can actually confirm with me. I built this studio to deal with my rear reflection. So when I'm talking, when I'm doing a YouTube video facing that way, the rear reflection behind me isn't coming back into the microphone. That was important.
That's the important part.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing that when I built this, so when I'm sitting at my computer facing the actual monitor, I'm facing all of this Orlex that's on the wall, the rear reflection coming in from behind me is actually coming back to the microphone because it'll hit the monitor and it'll go right back and it'll come right back to me. So when you're setting up your studio, you really have to consider where you're using your microphone from. Like
there's two things that I would say from that. First of all, if your monitor has a bit of a pivot tilt to it, if you can just pivot it up ever so slightly so that when it hits, it goes up instead of right back in your face, that helps a lot.
Shut up.
That helps a lot. But then also, again, as long as and this is why studios will have absorption panels and diffusion panels at the back of the room and not at the front of the room. The front of the room is usually a window.
Yep.
It's like, well, how is that helpful? It's like, well, especially you're using a condenser, and condensers are very sensitive, as we know.
Yes.
So they do reject from behind, but compared to like if I were to spin my SM7 around and talk into the switches at the back, the amount of rejection that I'd get there is way more rejection than you would see with the condenser mics.
Oh yeah, like actually here, you can actually see what the kind of rejection I've got coming through the back of my microphone.
So let's try that out. So I'm gonna go. So now I'm talking at the back of my SM7.
Yeah, and you can. Sure it's a lot quieter, but you're
especially with the gate. The gate's probably helping my case a little bit.
Yeah. Is anybody jumping onto the stream right now? Why are they talking to the idiots into the back?
Yeah, what the heck? These guys don't know how to record. What the hell? Angry comments.
Oh, don't worry. Oh, I wanted to get one of those. We're getting into an hour here, and this has been a first stream. I want to thank everybody who's come onto the stream. Just a quick one. Sandra Cunningham came on and said hi. Nuno Cosmos. That's a cool name. Said
that is a really cool name.
Greetings from Spain. Love it. Ken, thanks for sticking around. Victor, thanks for hanging out. Paul Adamson, I don't know if he's still watching, but I appreciate it. This is the first one we've been able to do. I want to do this more on a weekly kind of experience here. Sometime around the same time. We're going to work out details on that between Dylan and I to see what's best for us. But to talk about things of the week and kind of go over how the channel's going, what's coming up in the channel. One of those is turning the SM7 or the SM58 into an SM7B mechanically. We're almost at 100 likes on that video. And I said, when I compared the SM58 to the Behringer 1800S, I said if I get 100 views or 100 likes, I would actually rip apart my Shure SM58 and turn it into an SM7B. That's coming. Little things like that. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was comments. And everybody that's watching now, love you guys. This is probably more of the happier crowd that I've got here, not the angry, you're doing troll. Things wrong crowd. Like my favorite,
you guys suck.
My favorite lately has been people telling me, well, your microphone's an extra inch off your face, so it doesn't matter as much.
Oh, don't even.
Yeah, like stuff like that has just been, it can be demoralizing to a certain degree, but it can also just be like, come on, shut up.
You just have to acknowledge that these people, they're disgruntled because they didn't achieve any success in anything that they did in their lives. So now they have to take a stab at you because you're actually getting traction. That's what it boils down to 90% of the time.
I got one from yesterday, and if he's watching, just one truth. Actually, it could be a woman, could be a guy, I don't know. And this is almost like a public apology. Okay, for me, to Just One Truth. Just One Truth messaged me. So my Shure 55SH video is kind of set up a little clickbaity. And it's funny because the whole point of it was it's the Shure 55SH review and why I'm returning it. And I actually returned this mic for a stupid reason, but I still stand behind it. Have you ever used the 55SH, Dylan?
Yes.
On a stage or on a desk?
Stage. On a stage, never in a desk.
It doesn't work with any boom arm for a desk.
Yeah, well, because it's got the
too
ports
close.
right beside the thing. Yeah.
And so anything that's got any meat to it, you won't be able to get the XLR into it. And it pissed me off because I loved the look of it. I thought it would be a cool desk mount to talk with. Anyways, I returned it because of that, and that's in the video. I think it's stupid that you would have to go buy the extension for $45. By Shure.
Yeah.
Shure should include that. That should be part of it. If you're using this as a desk mic, here you go. Here's the extension. So a guy basically messaged me saying, you buy a mic for its looks, then it doesn't fit with the parts that you think are pretty, so you make a video about it. Huh. And these are the kinds...
That's a little aggressive.
These are the kinds
That's a little unnecessarily aggressive. See, I have this whole thing. I'm not going to... This isn't going to be... It'll be a 2-second tangent. But, like, I have a real problem, personally, with unnecessary suffering.
Right.
That's just something I'm personally very against. Like, if somebody does something really dumb and they're pretending like it wasn't really dumb, yes, I will happily rip into you to the degree that is necessary for you to get my point. However, like, for example, I hate to name drop, but our buddy Jay's 2 cents, who's not really our buddy at all. I don't know him.
Yeah,
but he made that whole video taking a jab at the SM7, and me, as somebody that has a lot of professional experience with this very good microphone, had a particular issue with the fact that he's like, nah, this is bad. Don't buy this mic. It's horrible. And it's like, well, no, good sir. You don't know how to use it. That's the problem. But then I'm not just see, this is another thing too. Say something constructive that you can actually use to build. Don't just say, oh, you don't know what you're doing. It's like, well, tell me what I don't know what I'm doing, and then I will learn.
Absolutely.
Right?
I am wrong probably 90% of the time.
Same here, man.
According to my wife, I'm rarely ever right. However, when you approach stuff with an angry comment, and this is what I wrote in response, and I actually recognized something out of this. I said, do you think all the people who are buying mics off Amazon are trying them out? Like it or not, people are constantly buying mics for aesthetic purposes. That's just a thing. Now,
and we can't test stuff out. We can't test stuff out before we buy it anymore either, which is another challenge.
Thanks, COVID. Now, as to not trigger you further, I do point out in my recent videos that all mics should be tried out before purchasing as a bit of a disclaimer. But who am I kidding?
Or get a mic at a store with that has a 30-day money back.
And they all do, including Amazon. So I said, but who am I kidding? Thanks for watching. And Just One Truth basically crawled back and said, I'm sorry. And he was like, I came off as a real ass. I'm sorry, dude. And I realized at that point that
not everyone intentionally goes out of their way to be a troll.
No, but it's also, I have to recognize, and this is not like an ego thing. This isn't me saying, oh, well, I hold a position of power. But I do run the channel, and I'm the personality behind the channel, and I respond to almost every comment. I think I need to be less of a dick when I do. Like, I think I need to be more appreciative of people. Like, I'm wrong sometimes, and I'll actually come out and say it. I'll put out a new video saying, yeah, I was wrong. I screwed up. I'm sorry. But when you come at me like that, I think I need to be a little softer with the little softer gloves. Because I felt really bad once this kid actually said, hey, I'm sorry.
I think, too, it's like if you come at somebody like that, though, you should be prepared for the equal amount of whatever you're going to get back. I'm a firm believer in when you get attacked, you have to, I think in a lot of cases, not every case, but in a lot of cases, you have to like de-escalate it by approaching it with a similar but opposite level of
assholeness,
of aggression. Yeah, but sometimes it goes the other way. Sometimes if it's a real troll, I'll just be super nice. And it just ends up pissing them off more, which is my favorite pastime.
I do love what Ken said. Ken said, you pissed off a 55SH snowflake. How dare thee? Yeah, that's true. Right? Like, people get really passionate about the stuff they use. And like, one of my worst videos is my Rodecaster Pro, which I didn't like it because of the drivers. I loved the Rodecaster, but the drivers, I found we're a lazy response by road. Using third-party drivers is a bad idea. Also, I want to point out Padre Lionel. Sorry if I'm messing your name up, buddy. Hi from Portugal. In all fairness, Jay's 2 cents did recognize he was wrong and learned to use the SM7B. And I got to say, he was actually very... Jay, if you follow Jay on any social media, he's spicy. Like, if you call him on things on social media, he gets real spicy. He will call you out and he'll call you names. But I got to...
shots back.
Oh, yeah. But
he also can admit when he's messed something up.
And that's the thing, like, dude came clean. Like, I even did a video calling him out on it. Like, Jay, come on, man. Like, the SM7B is legendary for a reason. And yeah, I gotta say, a very, very classy video saying I'm wrong. And I think that's the measure of anybody when it comes to all of this stuff. Like, I recognize that I'm not as great at EQ as somebody like Dylan. Dylan, to me, is, if I need something EQ'd professionally, I'll send it to Dylan. I won't do it myself. It's recognizing where you do fall
But even
short.
then, I still, like, nobody knows 100% of anything.
No.
And I think even me, it's like, yes, but like every week almost, there's a new little thing that I remember the first time a couple of years ago where somebody showed me the film dialogue trick to how to strip out plosive, like, popped peas after they've been popped. And it was like such a basic little technique with an EQ, and I was like, "That's really good idea." Oh,
you're gonna have to show me that actually.
We'll do a processing deep dive one of these days.
Awesome. And so we're running an hour 10.
I remember we only thought it was gonna be like a half an hour.
Whatever.
We were talking about.
You know what? Still going strong. Lots of views. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Now, just in closing here, let us know if there's something you guys want to see. You've got two relative experts here, guys that are in radio that have been in this for quite some time. Especially, I'll throw to Dylan. What's your YouTube channel, Dylan? Just get it out there.
I don't have a channel that caters to this kind of material, which I know we talked about. Me also streaming this.
We'll get there, buddy. We'll get there. Stuff and stuff.
But for now, my artist channel, which at some point I'll probably be pointing videos over there to my technology channel or whatever that will end up being when it happens, is Dylan Lalonde Music. Okay. Is my artist channel.
And website. Just might as well hit it up.
Yep.
LydianStudios.com.
LydianStudios.com, or again, my artist site, which is DylanLalondeMusic.com.
I will hit those up. I'll get those links down in the video description once this thing goes to non-live. And
I was going to say, once it goes live. Wait, what?
Yeah. I'm still getting good. Like, I can actually go in and edit. I just don't, like, I'm not touching anything right now. So let us know down in the comments, guys. Is there anything you want to see? Is there any burning questions? Book us in for Friday, and we'll see you again next Friday.
And also, I think just topic-wise, too. Like, do you want to hear more technology stuff, business stuff, like creative stuff? Like, there's what direction do you want to see these going? Because today we focused a lot on technology stuff, but, like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the various industries that's good to talk about, too.
We touched on a few things, erotic audio, stuff like that. Yeah, it's stuff.
Erotic audio, yes. Yes, my favorite Friday pastime, erotic audio, yeah.
We will never talk of that book again on a Friday. Just so you know. All right, guys.
Only Thursdays.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Have yourself a great week. And actually, I got a video coming up Monday with the BP40, so the Heil BP40. So stay tuned for that.